From east to west, a biblical journey around Jesus Christ. Globe Part 1 extended the wise men from the east. The world was quiet, but something was changing. Far beyond the small town of Bethlehem, beyond the hills of Judea, in lands filled with ancient knowledge and mystery, a group of wise men studied the night sky. These men, known as the Magi, were not ordinary travelers. They were seekers, seekers of truth, seekers of meaning, seekers of something greater than themselves. For many years, they had watched the stars. Each movement, each light, each pattern, meant something to them. But on this night, everything changed. A star appeared, not like any star they had seen before. It shone brighter, stronger, almost as if it was alive. The sky itself seemed to speak. One of the wise men stepped forward slowly, his eyes fixed on the light. "This is no ordinary sign," he whispered. Another replied, "It is written, a king will be born." Silence fell between them, not fear, but awe. Because deep in their hearts, they knew. This was the moment they had been waiting for. Without delay, they began preparing for a journey. Not a short journey, not an easy journey, but a journey of faith. They gathered supplies, food, water, treasures, gold, frankincense, and myrrh. Not random gifts, but meaningful ones. Gifts fit for a king. Days passed, then weeks. The desert stretched endlessly before them. Hot winds, cold nights, uncertainty at every step. Sometimes, they wondered if they would ever reach their destination. But each night, they looked up, and the star was still there, guiding them, leading them forward. Finally, they reached Jerusalem. A city filled with people, noise, and power. They asked a question that would shake the city. "Where is the one who has been born King of the Jews?" The question spread quickly. Even the king heard it. Fear entered the hearts of rulers. But the wise men were not concerned with politics. They were following truth. Soon, they continued their journey. The star moved again, slowly, gently, leading them, until it stopped, over a simple place, not a palace, not a throne room, but a humble home. They entered quietly. Inside, they saw a child. And in that moment, everything became clear. This was the king, not of a nation, but of hearts. They bowed down, not because they were told to, but because they felt it. They offered their gifts: gold, for a king; frankincense, for the divine; myrrh, for sacrifice. And as they left, they were no longer the same, because they had found what they had been searching for all along. Globe Part 2 extended the Queen of Sheba's journey. Long before the time of Jesus Christ, there lived a king whose wisdom was unlike any other. His name was Solomon. His words carried truth, his judgments carried justice, and his wisdom spread across the world. In a distant land, far from Israel, a queen heard of him. The Queen of Sheba, powerful, intelligent, and curious, she had seen many rulers. But something about Solomon was different. "They say his wisdom comes from God," she said softly. But she did not believe easily. She wanted proof, so she decided to go herself. Her journey was long. Caravans filled with treasures moved slowly across the desert. Gold, spices, precious stones. But her real treasure was her questions. Questions about life, about truth, about purpose. When she arrived, she stood before Solomon and began to test him. One question after another. Difficult, deep, complex. But Solomon answered each one, not with struggle, but with clarity, as if truth flowed through him. The queen was amazed. Her doubts began to fade. She realized something powerful. This was not just wisdom. This was divine guidance. She bowed her head slightly and acknowledged the greatness of God. Her journey ended, but her understanding had just begun. Globe Part 3 extended the roads that connected the world. Long before modern maps, there were roads, ancient roads, paths carved through deserts, mountains, and unknown lands. These were the trade routes. They connected nations, from the Middle East to lands far beyond, possibly reaching regions we now know as India. Caravans traveled slowly, carrying spices, silk, jewels, but something else traveled with them. Stories. Stories of prophets, stories of miracles, stories of God. Around campfires, under the stars, merchants would speak. "Have you heard of the man who heals the sick? Have you heard of the power of God?" And slowly, across lands and cultures, faith began to spread, not through force, but through stories, through hearts, through curiosity. Globe Part 4 extended the journey of Thomas the Apostle. After the resurrection of Jesus Christ, fear disappeared. Hope replaced it. The disciples had seen something undeniable. And now, they had a mission. To go into the world. To share the message. One of them, Thomas, would go farther than most. He was once known for doubt. But now, his faith was unbreakable. He traveled across lands unknown, facing dangers, crossing seas, entering cultures completely different from his own. According to ancient tradition, he reached India, a land of deep history, rich culture, different beliefs. At first, people listened with curiosity. Who was this man? What was this message? But Thomas spoke with conviction, with passion, with truth. And slowly, hearts began to change, communities formed, faith spread, far from where it all began. The message was alive. Globe Part 5 extended. The light reaches the far east. The message of Jesus Christ was never meant for one place. It was meant for the world. Over time, travelers carried it further, across the Silk Road, through mountains and deserts, into lands like China, a place of ancient wisdom, deep philosophy, strong traditions. At first, the message was unfamiliar, different, but also powerful, because its core was universal. Love, forgiveness, hope. Historical records show that early believers lived in these distant lands. Quietly, faithfully, the message had traveled far beyond its beginning, and it continued to move, heart to heart,